Today we're going to look at how to light chroma key. Now what I want to show you is some really simple techniques of how to do it. Nothing terribly complicated. So the first thing is just to bring in some chairs. So position the chairs, and then what we need is the all-important chroma key screen. Now this one, if you can see that label, is made by PhotoCell. Never heard of that company. However, cost me about £50 on Amazon, and it's been a great chroma key background. And the reason it's so good is I can actually fit this into my suitcase. It's a bit of a job. I jam it in and I slam it shut, and it just fits, and it didn't cost a lot of money. Okay, so take out the chroma key screen, and there you go, that's it. So position it against the background, which is why I put the chairs in place. Nice and simple. And there we go. Doesn't get easier than that. So if I put myself back in position, there we go. Okay, the chroma key screen's not doing what I need it to do. Got to put it more into position. Give it a bit of a brush if there's anything on the screen that's going to get in the way. Always nice to have it nice and clean. Okay, so back into position. Now, don't worry so much about the fact that you can see something on the side there. We can mask that out, that's fine. But what's important is that there's green behind me. Okay, so if I bring a light in, now this is the Filoni, which is distributed by DEDOTEC. I love the Filonis. They're bicolor, they're dimmable, and the light quality is just fantastic. So if I put that into position, switch on the light, make sure it's balanced to the same color temperature as the rest of the room, and perhaps dim it a bit if it needs it. Step back into position, and as you can see, I am now lit. I don't think that's a very good job. I'll just bring it over here a bit more and give it a bit of separation from myself, because the lighting is just a bit much. And perhaps dim it down a little bit. There we go. All right, let's see how that works. I personally think that's probably going to give quite a good key. It's simple, it's basically direct lighting, and there's not a lot to it. And keep in mind that once I've masked that corner over there, which we can see, I can move myself around, be it me or be it the subject in frame, and position it against the background however I want. So chroma key can be very versatile and very useful. Okay, so that's one way to do it. That's with one light. I will say, behind me, there's light coming in from a window, which is what's actually lighting the background. You can get really sophisticated with chroma key if you want. You can light the background first, get it very flat, then bring in the lights for the subject, set up some backlight. But what I showed you here is a quick, dirty way to do it. And it also comes down to which bit of software you are using to achieve your chroma keys with as to what you end up with in the end. Now I use Final Cut Pro 10. I think the keyer in that is fantastic. It's so quick, so easy, I get good results. I've actually been told there's other chroma keyers out there that will do a better job, but they take a lot more work. I get good results, my clients are happy, that's all that matters to me. Okay, let's show you another way to do it. That light, I'm only getting a look on a monitor that big, which is 10 feet away, so hopefully the results will be good. But there's other ways you can do it. That's the most simple setup of all. So let's get the Filoni out the way. Bring in a couple of other lights. Okay, put the Filoni on one side. Now, this is a DEDOTEC softbox. It's a 150 light. And you can see that I've got basically this blue material, which means I'm shooting in daylight because there's daylight coming in through the window. Basically, I don't have to gel it. Remember the days of gel? I don't really use gel anymore. This is a much better way to do it. Plus, if I'm using bicolor lights like the Filonis, well, bicolor's built in, so you just turn the knob. Okay, put that into position. Put lights, switch it on, which is great. Okay, angle it so the light will hit me, the subject, and then I grab another light, which is also a DEDO 150 softbox, but it's a smaller softbox. So if I put that into position, okay, there we go. I imagine you can See that from there? Again, I've got the blue material on. The blue material means I don't have to gel it, like I said, which is great. A much better system as far as I'm concerned. And just plug in the light. Switch it on. And basically, there'll be light on myself coming from two different directions. And I imagine that's looking quite reasonable. I'm back in position. I think that's a bit softer than what I had with the Filoni. Now, the Filoni has a diffuser on it, but from what I could see from the distance I am, just looked a little bit harsh. I'm not sure. Maybe it came up nice when we look back at it. I don't know. But I've got two lights on me. Now, it's pretty flat lighting, but to me that works. If I want, I can dim this one back a little bit so it's sort of get a bit of that modelling happening, so it's not all light from one side. It's sort of a bit darker on one side than the other. I'm not sure how much difference that has made. Plus I got quite a lot of light coming in from behind the window. So separate to that, I can bring in a third light. This one is a DLED4 LED light made by DEDOTEC, and it's a fantastic light. It's focusable, it's dimmable, and you can get bi-colour versions. However, this is a daylight one, and I'll use this as a backlight. I don't know how successful I'll be, because it's quite hard to light yourself. However, if I put this one over here, switch it on, nice and high with the light. I want it hitting the top of my head, if possible. And switch it on. You gotta, for me, it's just a comment, but I find that I like lighting to be kind of subtle. I mean, sometimes you don't want it to be subtle. Sometimes you want it to be hard. But overlit can really basically give you an impression of something you're not trying to achieve. Now, I'm not sure how successful I'm being there. Okay, let's have a look. And yeah, there's some light coming in from the side. I don't think I've done a particularly good job of that. However, the idea is that chroma key lighting does not have to be incredibly difficult, and you can set it up quickly and you can get good results. Now let me make one more comment. I'm recording 422 ProRes HQ on an Atomos Samurai blade. That's always something that I like to do with chroma keys. The more color information, the better. You can actually do reasonable results with a 420 signal, but 422 is really the way to go. I don't think there's too many people that would disagree with that. And beyond that, this is the setup. And I want to make one more comment, which is this chroma key screen is not that difficult to fold up. Some of them are really tricky, but this one I can actually fold up quite quickly and easily. So if I just grab the screen, the way to do it, this is where you can actually really embarrass yourself, especially if clients are in the room. So I just fold the screen over basically onto itself, grab it, and then it all folds up. And that's probably as quick a setup of a chroma key screen that you're ever going to get. Now, I did mention, this only cost me about 50 or 55 pounds off Amazon. It's great. I take it everywhere. But the material is quite thin, so it works great against a backdrop. But if you try and stand it on its own with a couple of lighting stands, well, it may just not do the job because you can actually see through it a little bit at a time. But I always just stick it against a wall and then there's no problems at all. So, basically, all we got to do is put it away in the bag and I'm ready to go for the next shoot. And I just hope you get the gist that you can light a chroma key with something as simple as one light. You can take it further. In this setup, I've used 3 lights, so that's fine. But it doesn't take a massive amount of equipment and it doesn't take a gigantic amount of skill. Of course, that's arguable. And I do hope to do a much better chroma key demonstration at some time. A good friend and colleague of mine, he's gone into chroma key quite deeply and he's got all sorts of methods for producing wonderful results where he lights the background first, basically gets that completely flat, which is the way you should do it, and then he brings in the lights and lights the subject. Now that's a good way to do it. However, for a quick dirty setup, do basically what I've done here, and then you can learn and get more sophisticated after that.